please.
Hi, my name is Marilee Sauter, and I am the Ideal SIG manager. And I wanted to give you a little bit of history about this presentation and forthcoming workshops. We're doing a website makeover, and what I wanted to do to start out was to give you a little bit of history about our website. So in about 2017, the IDL SIG launched a new WordPress website. And it was a series of websites that affected all of the SIGs because we all use the same template. Or we also call that a theme because it's called that in WordPress. So all of the websites, the SIG websites, looked pretty much alike, maybe with the exception of the way that we decided that we would have our menus set up. But in terms of websites, we are a little past due for updating our look. And so we decided that we needed to do a makeover, and then we also decided that we needed to do a cleanup of the content. And so because we use our website a lot, we figured that it was really crucial that we improve upon it. Now, I've also been the webmaster for several years, and I realized that this could happen, and but I also wanted to be able to share this information, this makeover information, with our volunteers and those coming in, maybe eventually as volunteers. And since we are teachers and trainers in the Ideal SIG, I figured that sharing the makeover experience with our volunteers would give them an opportunity, to learn about design, web architecture, content, search engine options, all the building blocks of a site. So today, this session, which is number one in a series, is basically about the overview process that we will undertake in the next series. Just as a reminder, the next one will be after this overview session will be on November 11th. It's called Site Design, and it will be a working session as all of the following ones will be. And we'll come up with, we'll do some breakout sessions. And so this is where we kind of brainstorm what we want the site to look like, and we'll be given information on how to do that from Janetta, our expert here. The one following will be site structure and navigation. That's December 9th of this year. And we'll delve into site taxonomy, web structure, navigation, and again, Janetta will lead us through that, and we will again have breakout sessions. I know we keep on saying that, sessions. And the final one will occur in January 13th, the fourth in the series, SEO, search engine optimization. And we'll look at tagging images and all of other kinds of elements that can lead to better line exposure, and that will give us exposure to top search engines. And then we'll also be delving into a lot more than that in that SEO session. So in conclusion, the next sessions will be working sessions in which we will ask attendees to give feedback and help us with our site makeover. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Janetta Lamore, and she has been with the SIG for over a year now. as our social media chair, and she's stepping in to do this website makeover. And eventually, well, she'll just take the reins from the current webmaster. Actually, we're doing that together. But she's got a lot of experience with websites. And actually it's kind of one of her passions. And so I am going to let Janetta introduce herself, and I'm going to put myself on mute so that you can talk, and I will just tell me when you want me to move the slides forward, Janetta. And without further ado,
Okay.
here's Janetta.
Hey, thanks. Thank you so much. And uh, you can go to the next slide. And we really kind of in that agenda it went over some of those, the whys, the what, the wheres. And some people, uh, take a look at their website and they say, oh, I need to update this, but they're at a total loss of how this is going to happen. And it can look like a large problem and just almost like a nightmarish qualities for some people, or a very expensive endeavor for others if they have somebody come in and do it for them. And honestly, quite often still confusing, even though somebody's telling them, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and they're just nodding their heads and wondering how much they're going to be writing checks for. But a little bit about myself. So I have been working with websites, design, communication for over 20 years. I taught myself how to write HTML way back in 89 or 90. And then upgraded through the years through CSS and onwards. And it's been an interesting journey. It's one of those things that over time, the sites and the what they look like and kind of the styling has changed so much from when I remember things were done with tables and you had these little guys like digging, and you say work happening, or soon to be under construction, all that kind of silly stuff. People would have music blaring as soon as you got on their website. Sometimes it would be quite a mess, but and over the years it's gotten much more simplified. The way the sites look are very organic. They're much cleaner looking, and sorry about that, I'm right by some traffic here. Much cleaner and image based rather than a words based, which for us, being technical writers of all sorts, words are so very, very important. So there's almost this, hesitation to say, well, take away the words and put pictures instead. Oh no. Yeah. So the why, the where, the what, the when, and the who is really what you should ask yourself. Why are you going to go forward with this? What do you plan on doing with your website? What changes? Are you going to keep it on the same server? That would be the where. Do you want to do anything major? Like change the URL, the website address, things like that. This is the time to do it. If you are going to do those things, we are not going to do those things. A little bit of what I'm going to talk about through this series is based off of our needs, but also a more general based for needs that you may come up with in your work. For instance, some people might think, well, why do technical writers need to know anything about websites? Well, if you're writing articles, you need to know how to tag your images. You need to know how to do your SEO and your keywords, things like that. So there's a lot of things that you're going to see in building a website that actually go into building articles, and that's kind of how it aligns together. The win is, you know, for us is now. We are, you know, if you were in a business, you might be starting to plan this out 6 months in advance, which we have been working on this for quite a few months in the background. And so with a business, you know, you would want to figure out, okay, we're going to calendar this to be done between now and have perhaps a grand opening for your website, things like that. The who is, well, because we're all volunteers, that's we're the who. If you were a business, you know, if you had somebody on board that was able to do that position, a large business that did exactly this kind of work. So those are the why, what, where, when, and who's. And Marilee, if you could go to the next slide. So we're looking at the why first here. And so some people might think, well, websites don't age, they're just websites. It's information that's static, it's there. But in the terms of these kind of like these days, you know, you want to say of what people expect, what your viewers will expect to see, be it if you're selling something, if you want to promote yourself, you want to blog, you want to do anything, your website probably shouldn't be more than about 3 years old. 5 is pushing it only because the technology changes so quickly. And it doesn't mean it has to have a complete design, but you might want to look at some of the features. Our website, you know, is going to get what we're calling a makeover, because we are not going to be getting rid of the content. We are actually going to use the content. We're just going to make it look much better and more, let's say, integrated and easy to find information, articles, and tagging names of the authors and different details like that. So another question to ask yourself is, are you happy with the way your website performs? And while the website for our website performs fairly well, there are some issues. And we'll go through those here a little bit later. And we'd also like some elements to work better together. There are items, for instance, if we post something on the website, that it can automatically go to our and post into our social media feeds. You know, is the calendar you know, right there where everybody can see it, or do they have to go offsite or click through to get to the calendar? There are things that the impatience of our website users is notorious. You know, they say that you've got mere seconds to capture their imagination and capture their interest. And so that is one of the things that we need to take in consideration. How many ways do we have people click out of our site when we actually want them to stay on our site? And how can we fix those things so they don't they're not redirected somewhere else, that we bring it all inside, or at least contain it where you know, it's easy for them to get right back to the articles and things like that. That includes with the functionality. Is the website doing everything it can for us? Do we have it set up where we get, you know, well, we do have some of these things set up, but we'll be taking a look to see what are the welcome letters, what are the items that get sent automatically when new people come, you know, who's, you know, how does the contact forums look? Do they look interesting? Do they ask the right questions? Things like that. So we will be going through all those items in the next part of the series. So if you go to the next slide now. So this is kind of my fun. If you can tell, I like to have fun. So, so this is just the, how does our site measure up in SEO, WordPress plugins, design, the layout, and images and things like that. So let's go to the next page or next slide. Sorry. All right. So here is this is kind of like the top header of our webpage. And as you can tell, it's a little stark, and it is what I would consider word heavy. And the content itself, I believe that we have rich content. I will, and as we go through this process together, what I want to also gauge from everyone else is that is this content, aren't we able to find a better way to capture one's imagination? If you're looking at this for the very first time, what is going to grab your eyes and lead you to want to look at more? Now, sometimes we are going to this website because we know it exists and we want to be part of this group. So we will give some allowance for that and kind of say, okay, but where's the part where I sign up? So sign up area should be first and foremost. We have, what do we want people to do when they get to the website? We want them to look at our calendar, that we want them to get involved. We want them to, read the articles, find something that they will, will direct them and give them some meat for their sandwich, you might say, or vegetables if you're vegetarian. So so we'll be looking at those items. What is this website and how do we want to present ourselves? Because right now the website looks very, well, dry. And, how can we make this just more inviting and with great calls to action? That's another thing that we really want to have is calls to action and images and things like that. So you can kind of go through the next two slides there. There you go. How it looks. I call it word salad. And don't worry. I mean, there's lots of websites that have done this, and I would say most of our technical websites are probably very, very similar in that there are a lot of words. Now, if you look up how many words a homepage should have, you will see that there should be some words, and there's actually numbers and things that have been proven to work best for SEO and for the robots and whatnot to travel over. So if we go to the next slide, Marley. Okay, so here's where we go. We got words, 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 words. And because we are word lovers, this site originally, if you don't know WordPress, WordPress is actually, when you open a WordPress site for the very first time, you're going to be very disappointed if you think it's going to be this gorgeous layout. Basically, what you get is kind of what we have on our front page, where it's a list, just titles, and it was originally created to be a blogging site. And what is blogging? Blogging is talking about some topic, could be many topics, but you're going to type out kind of like you're writing a diary. And it shows the date, it shows the content, it shows the, you can actually add pictures and things like that. But it depends on what we call the theme or the content that is allowed into that WordPress site. So what we're looking to do is really to create a website that's attractive, that captures the imagination, that gives confidence in our professionalism, in our ability to create and maintain a website that is up to date. And one of the things that we know now, I mean, even the magazines these days, what do magazines have but big pictures, little words, pictures, words over pictures, different ways like that. But it's about the eye, drawing the eyes in. So we can add valuable content through effective SEO. And SEO means search engine optimization and images. And SEO, you'll hear me say it quite a few times, and it will be one of the topics we'll be going over because it is a large topic. And it goes, if you think of it as sort of the webbing for a leaf, think of the leaf as your website, and the SEO is like the webbing, all those little veins that go through a leaf. And because it holds so much together, it really holds that whole leaf in its shape that it's going to be. And so that is the thing that we'll be working over, is the SEO. If you can go to the next slide, Marley. All right, so let me see here. So what the good site needs. So we need content. Now we have content. We have a lot of content. Matter of fact, I was running a site. Basically, it just gauges your site for you and tells you how many pages you have. And it went over 500 pages worth of content. So we have content galore, and that is going to be something that we will go through also, because I don't believe that content is bad. It just needs to be organized and listed in a way that it could be found. And that's going to be a task that we'll be doing with our volunteers in the long run. Usability. Does the website display on any smart device and every platform? So what I'd like everyone to do right now, if you're not already on your cell phone watching and listening, but if you have your smart device or you have a second monitor or some way to go to the website, I'd like you to go to our STC website. Verily, could you read off the URL for them? Or Vicky?
I can, yeah, I could probably, I think everybody knows it, but it's,
That's what I figured. Everybody probably knows it. If you know it,
yeah,
go ahead and try to bring it up on your phone.
www, well, it should be HTTPS, but if you put www.stcidlsig.org, has to have an org after it.
Perfect. So I'd like you to bring that up on your phones, smart devices, or anything that you're using, and take a look at how it displays.
Yeah, and it's also in the chat section too, if people just want to link to that.
Yes, perfect.
Thanks,
So
ma'am.
what I'd like you to do is take a look at that and see what you can see in your smart device. And is it resizing to your device? Do you have to do a lot of scrolling? Do you have to, is it hard to click on the links? Just sort of do, act like you're the first time user of this website and give it about 5 minutes or so. I just want you to explore the website on your smart device. I'll just give you a few minutes to do that. And then write down some notes if you've got a pen and paper, or just keep it in your head. And we're going to do this again. We'll talk about it at the end of this, at the end of the session. Your thoughts as a first-time user. Just kind of close your eyes, open them up again, and look at the website like you've never seen it before. And then write down some ideas or thoughts and impressions that you have of the front page of our website. It'll take about 5 minutes. We're at 5:00. There we go. All right. So having done that, just kind of keep your notes and your thoughts about it. We're going to return to that in just a little bit. But when we're looking at the aesthetics, so especially you want to look at the overall layout, the menus, the buttons, the images, the icons, the colors, the fonts, etc. Do they all work together? Are you, do they work together? Are they viewable? Are they, are they large enough, small enough? Is it too funky? Does it, you're not going to use the same fonts for, let's say, God forbid, a funeral parlor as you might for a fun castle, right? So you have to think about the, the, well, is it, really serious? So we're going to use Times New Roman for everything. Or are we, kind of, free flowing and Ariel sort of, feeling in, or we're going to be like, old Western or, so, you're going to be there. If you go down the font rabbit hole, you may be down there for a while, but there are some fonts that will work and are considered great fonts to use on any site. And so we'll be going over and looking at how that works. The visibility. So visibility usually means visibility from the other end, people trying to find your website. And again, this ties into that magic 3 letters called SEO. But also, do you have it listed on your social media? Do you make sure it's on all, if you have any printed materials that go out, is it printed on that? Or if it's embedded in the PDFs or at the bottom of the articles that go out. The visibility is important and we need to make sure that it's consistent. And the interactions is what the visitors will take away from, take the visitors away from the site. So you want to be very, very judicious with that end of things. You can go to a website and the first thing it says is click here to go check this out. Well, it sent them off to another website. So, how much time did they spend on your website? None. So you want to be careful and make sure you're using the right elements to capture and keep your users interested in looking through your site as long as they want to be. And, and it gives them more time to learn more about us as a group. So if we go ahead and switch to the next slide. All right. So what do we need in a good website? So here I have a little bug. He's checking it out. So, we have 500 plus pages of content, which I've noted. Our calendar, we do have to click to go through the calendar. Calendar does work nicely though. And, it's very standardized calendar, which is fine. We do have quite a few links to social media. which shows that we're pretty active in all that. And so that's important because a lot of people like to go through and click and join and be on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn. And so that's important to have those listed there. We do have where, in order for them to sign up for a webinars and events, they do go outside the site. And, then of course we have our standard headers and articles and things like that. The, in a way, one of the best parts about our site is it's fairly simple. And simplicity is important. And, people aren't coming to see how slick the design is, but on the other hand, they have expectations of what a professional site will look like. Tim, that would be in the background, all the content, all the articles and everything. When the website is read, it comes up as 500, over 500 pages. So all the articles, everything will count. All right. Yes, we have 8 main pages, but there's the content beyond that in our catalog of content. All right, there. We want to make sure that we don't have any unnecessary content. Is there anything that we're not using? Are there links that we're not using? Can we consolidate the our links so we have as few as possible, yet still very, very clear and very easy for people to follow and find what they're looking for? Because a website is not for our benefit per se. It's actually, we benefit because we use it, but we really want it to be benefiting and very simple for our potential volunteers, potential group members. Let's say that somebody has been invited to speak for us, and they go to our website and they will see, will they see that other speakers have features there? Sometimes that's what people are really interested in, is as not only getting to be able to speak for, a group like ours, but also, they feel that social media and exposure matters. So is that something that we can offer future speakers? Is that we will have a space for them to be featured? Do they have other articles, books, things like that that we can put out there, or at least give them links on our website boards? So do we have colors? We don't really use many colors. We have colors in the icon, and I will confess I don't have the background of the current logo, but I, is that something that we want to look at? Is it something that we love? Is it something that we're just using? Is this something that we might want to, talk about and come up with some other ideas? That's an area that we can explore. The colors that we use, we could take them from the current logo and create them like that from there. There's actually a handbook of computer-human interaction where in the handbook they recommend using probably a maximum, I believe, of 5 colors in our designs. You don't want to get too crazy. Websites are for the purpose. So if you were going to be doing a website for, let's say, Crazy the Clown, well, Crazy the Clown might be wearing, 7 or 8 colors, and that's, what you do in that website for that business. But it would be different for some, for, let's say, a lawyer or you know, banker's website. There's also differences in what kinds of colors get used. It actually gets very technical and quite interesting to see that if you ever notice, like banks are often blue, red, green. There's a reasoning behind that. Uh, we'll get to explore some of that psychology behind fonts, behind colors, behind how the pages are built and how they're set up in the future uh, sessions that we'll be having. It it becomes quite it's fascinating. I can go down that rabbit hole very easily. So, uh, but so we're going to look at typefaces now. Again, this is more like fonts. We want something that's not too artsy. It's legible, contrasts well with the background color. Um, we're going to keep it the standard definition of probably the recommendation of probably 3 different types and sizes. So you'll have your headers, you'll have your smaller headers, and then you'll have the actual typeface that the wording will be in. And then graphics. So we don't want to add graphics willy-nilly. We want graphics to be very clear and precise and really what they need to be. And if we could switch to the next slide, Marilee. I forgot to tell you that, don't worry. Everybody will see what I was talking about.
Okay. Also, we're kind of coming up toward the end here, so
Yes.
So I just wanted to remind you, I'm going to put myself on mute. The gardener's here.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. So, so we've really gone through. So on the also there, we're going to look at. So this is kind of what I consider our site plan, a simplified one. We're going to have a clear purpose. We're going to have a simple web address that's already simple. We're going to have strong professional branding, simple navigation, easy to find contact information, strong calls to action, a great mobile experience, and compelling content. And I do believe that we have some really good, compelling content in there. So with that, let's see. We're at 5:15 already. Woohoo. All right. So, Marilee, what I would say is that we could go back to and open it up for people if they want to talk or ask questions, and we can carry out some more time there.
Okay, so I have the next slide up here. It's the current view and then questions.
Yeah.
Is this the place where you want to add questions
Yes, exactly.
or up here, what we need in a good website?
The question one's fine.
Okay. This one here?
Yes.
Okay.
So my thought was, after looking in your smartphone at the website, what was the first sort of feeling you had about the website? Does anybody want to step up and say it first? Vicky? Do we need to unmute everybody?
So I think everybody can mute or unmute as they please.
Good.
We have that power.
I
We've
made
got
sure.
the power. Yay.
Yeah. So you're just going to call on people. So I mean, I've looked a ton of time on in a browser, you know, like a laptop or a desktop browser at the website. So today I decided to bring it up on my phone, and I was actually surprised at how it did a whole lot better at the responsive format on the phone than I was expecting. It does start with the blog posts. That's the first thing. Well, the first thing we see, of course, is our logo and our title, but then it starts with the blog posts. So most current content up top, which is not a bad thing. And then I was looking for the little buttons to get to all our different social media and like the notebook and the STC main website. Did have to do quite a bit of scrolling to get to them, but I was able to find them and I wasn't really annoyed. I don't mind scrolling up and down usually. I do hate scrolling side to side. I think I'm like everybody else in that. So
Yeah.
So anyway, I would give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay, cool. Sarah, how about you?
Well, for me, the scrolling was something that I noticed right away, but I'm with Vicky on the fact that mine did not do any side to side, which was good. The black and white also was something that we talked a little bit earlier about, looking for more contrast, more colors. That was something else that stood out because it's, like we've established earlier, very text heavy, and there are different design elements that could bring out, make it stand out a little bit better. So those are the big takeaways that I had just from looking at my phone.
Right, yes. So WordPress itself, one of the good things about WordPress is the fact that it does update. So it does keep a certain amount. If we were using the same WordPress that was from whenever, 2019, whenever this started, but it does update and it does keep a certain amount of working with browsers and phones and things like that, as long as the updates are kept going, and it will do that for you, which is a good part of it. Let's see, who else is in here? I'm looking to see.
Okay, I'll give a little bit of feedback. So on the phone, what I have found is are glaring errors in the menu. I'm starting out with the bad news. Actually, I find it pretty easy to navigate on the phone, just as long as I don't get too deep into the menu. So everything is really available, and we do have an interactive, there's a place in WordPress where we can create the interactivity, and so it does, what do they call that? It does, what's the word? I've lost the word, but it does adapt to the screen very well. The only thing that I don't like is if I put that's in portrait, but if I turn my phone to the horizontal position, layout, it becomes a lot more congested. So I don't find it to be, it does mimic our site and quite a lot, but but that view, it makes it more cumbersome. And yeah, I think the words, there are lots of words. We finally got the more reading issue taken care of. So if you click on that, it will expand the actual article or post, and that is helpful. But there are a lot of things I think that we could do that would work really well for the interface on a phone. So that's just my 2 cents worth.
Beautiful. No, that's great. That's great. So if you want to go through another slide. There we go. Modern site elements. So here's the the basics for what we're going to look into. And it doesn't mean that everything is bad. Our site is not, the worst site in the world. It's just needs a nice makeover, a little update, a little nip and tuck. And as you notice, the fact that, we can read it, and things like that, and things work. So that's good. So what it says, the unique typography. Now, do we have to go out and find a perfect or create our own font? Not particularly, but it is nice if we take one font and we work with it, and we can express a brand through it. Think about like Nike and different ones like that. They're very famous for their brands stuff. Do we have to get that, go that far? No. But we do need to look at the topography, and we need to keep it consistent throughout the site. We could use large images, engaging and responsive hero images. So the hero images are where an image that really stands out and sometimes has text overlaying it. Background videos can encourage the visitor to stay longer. Semi-flat design. This is something that's been started working with, is rather than sort of the flat cartoons where they're actually adding shadows and making it not 3D, but but a little more distinction to the images. Condensing the menus, that's a hamburger menu. So when you see those 3 or 4 little lines on top of each other, we call those a hamburger menu. And that really saves space. Also, people are really getting used to the idea that you see the little lines, that means you're going to get more information from there. Images that give users more information. So high quality images, not just, any old thing, but really choose what images we want to feature. The card design, that's where you're seeing these little bite-sized information in sort of like cards lined up. It'll say, for instance, it would have the title of and then you click it to read more. It gives you bite-sized content that's not overwhelming. Feature videos. I mean, wouldn't it be cool if we can, create snippets and bits and parts of videos, and have some live feed from the from different things that we do, and we could post that. We need to have white space. Right now we have lots of white space, but probably a little bit too much white space, but still we don't want to get overcrowded. And then, of course, our speed of optimization, which will mean that, that's how fast things come up on the page, how fast the images render, things like that. So the next one basically is just telling you about the next couple of websites, and then a big thank you. And that is pretty much what I have to say right now. If anybody has any questions.
I'm sorry, I kind of hit the wrong button. So I'm on the timeline right now.
Okay.
This kind of gives you a visual of what we're expecting in the next months. And so I will move on to her, let's see if I can do that, onto this. Thank you. And then questions. Sorry about the. Okay, it sounds like nobody has questions, or well, it doesn't have to be a question. Does anybody have commentary about what you've heard today. Any type of feedback for this particular first one in the series of the overview? Wow.
I know.
We're either dumbfounded or you have given us all the answers.
So I had a
I'll take.
comment.
Oh, sure.
Well, the look and the feel is controlled by the theme which was selected, and this theme is an official WordPress theme. I think it's 2017 maybe,
Yeah.
and that's one of the reasons why it converts so well to being on the mobile device, because it was designed to do that by WordPress.
Yes, exactly.
So all of the 6 sites were started out with this theme, so that's why it was chosen.
Yes.
For its adaptability. So changing the font and stuff like that, I mean, you could tweak the theme if you wanted to, but if you really want to make it pop differently, you're going to want to get a different theme in there.
Yes. And that'll be in our next session. We'll be talking about themes and choices in those, and also plugins, and generally how WordPress works. For those who don't know, and those who want to learn what's happening of late and things like that. But yes, so that's exactly right. WordPress does continuously update, so it does make it so our site continues to work whether or not we made changes in the last few years. So that's perfect.
Yes, indeed. Well, I'm
going to take it that I filled everybody's cup to overflowing with information, and if you have any questions, you can of course email me or message me on Slack.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think in the next sessions we'll be able to do, kind of brainstorm in our breakout sessions, or if we have enough people breaking out. And I want to thank you for those who have attended. We're going to keep this. We'll have the recording available, and as Vicki mentioned, if we have new folks coming on who have missed this particular session, we're going to ask them to go through and review it so they have kind of an overview of what we will be doing the next time in November. So I guess we could stop the recording, and